Hey there, gang. Patrick King here, coming to you live from Waymart, Pennsylvania, teaching here the next couple days at Rono Ranch here in Waymart. Today's question comes to us from Irene, and Irene asks, can you tell me the proper way to implement a half-halt? I've been using it as a signal to my horse that I'm requesting a change. Half-halt, release, implement, change. Now in my lessons, trying to get softness in the bridle, as I increase speed, I'm told to hold the half-halt until he gives what I'm requesting. This tends to have him go behind the bit and lean on my hands, the opposite of what I'm wanting. I now feel heavy-handed. I'm confused, as I'm sure he is. Yes, this sounds pretty confusing, Irene. So what I want to start thinking about, or what I want to kind of talk about, is the difference between a half-halt and a jaw yield, okay? When you're asking for your half-halt, it sounds like you're on the right track. The half-halt is a rebalancing. It's a preparation. It can be used for only about 40 million different things with our horse, and there's a lot of different variations and uses of the half-halt, but the basic gist of it is that it's preparing our horse for something that's coming up, which sounds like that's what you're doing, and it's about rebalancing our horse, which again, it sounds like that's what you're doing if you're half-halting before you ask for something else. Now, what you're describing with holding and having him come kind of behind the bridle and behind your hands, well, that's nothing productive, as you found out. Now, if we're waiting for a softness in our horse through the reins, that's more of what we would refer to as a jaw yield. And to me, that would kind of be the step before a half-halt, and probably also the step after a half-halt if the horse is bracing in the jaw. This is something that I would start out with on the ground, making sure that the jaw is mobilized and the horse is soft to the hand. Nothing about a jaw yield, though, comes from pulling. Okay, that's something that we want to really be sure of. No amount of pulling can bring softness into the horse. It's about him releasing and relaxing his jaw. So something that I might do would be maybe vibrate a little bit on an inside rein. Just asking the jaw to release, asking the tongue to become a little bit mobile. And it's a very, very subtle kind of a movement, a subtle hold and request from the hand. When the horse is soft that way, then I would implement or ask for my half-halt to happen. So I'm kind of not really sure exactly what we're trying to have take place here with your horse, but you're definitely on the right track with understanding that he's probably as confused as you are with the idea of him getting heavier and heavier on your hands. Now, something else that we need to keep in mind, if the horse gets heavy on our hands and comes behind the bridle and you're still holding or pulling on the reins, think about the dynamic, think about the physics behind what's going on there. The head comes behind the bridle. So if we're still kind of pulling or holding as the head comes behind the bridle, we're holding him in that position and we're drawing him harder into that position. It's just really important to understand that softening the jaw has nothing to do with pulling, and no amount of pulling is going to soften the jaw. Okay, so I would say work on the jaw yields. You could do that on the ground before you climb in the saddle to make sure that he's soft and mobile. And then chances are, whenever you get onto his back, your half-halts are going to be much smoother and softer, and he's less likely to come behind the bridle. Now, if I'm riding a horse that's coming behind the bridle, I will kind of draw a little, lift a little, and hold there. But it's not in the process of a half-halt, okay? Keep that in mind. It's not in the process of a half-halt. And I'm going to be rather passive in that idea until the horse starts to seek forward in the contact. But be sure we're not pulling back into that situation. That's something hopefully here very soon I'll be able to make a video with a horse so that makes a little bit more sense, because sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenging topic to just talk about in theory, right? So what I would call kind of the proper way of implementing the half-halt, I would initiate that from my core. I would support my horse with a little lower leg, adding a little bit of energy, and then the reins, it's not a pulling, okay? It's not a pulling. I really hope I can get that across. But the reins will be there to support something like a closed door, but not a pulling action, so that I can elevate, energize my horse and say, but that energy can't come out the front yet, and that would help him to hopefully come up in the withers, engage more with the haunches, elevate his back slightly. That's where I would go with that. So again, back to your horse, Irene. You're right. It sounds like he's as confused as you are in this situation, and it very much sounds to me like we need to take a few steps back, get a better handle on his feet, basically. If he's rushing and getting fast and then coming behind the bridle, that kind of tells me that we don't have our reins connected down to our horse's feet. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to take some time, go back, make sure that you've got this control of his feet. We work on this a lot in our foundation work, making sure that the hindquarters move, the shoulders move, all four of those legs, all four of his feet move off of your seat primarily, with a little bit of rein to help if necessary. Generally, once we get that control, then there's less misunderstandings when it comes time to add the connection to the reins. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have a friend that might find this video helpful, please tag them in the comment section below here. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's what we got today. So question of the day: what's the most recent challenge you and your horse are facing? Give me your answers in the comments section below this video. I look forward to reading your answers. Don't forget, gang, you keep sending in your questions. I'll keep talking about horses. Thanks so much.